Hey everyone, I want to share a personal example of the power of heart conversations that happened just yesterday. And sometimes in teaching this work, I forget how powerful these heart conversations, when they're transformed, can be. It's becoming second nature. And as we learn and grow in this, I want to teach us something to pay attention to that we often override or we often push through. And that is when we make a statement or we say something that we know will move us forward, and yet we feel this internal resistance to do it. For example, I was working in an area of my life as it relates to business, and I'm learning how to shape this identity of being a businesswoman. And I'm trying to remember the exact because I want to give you an example. I'm trying to remember the exact piece that I was focused upon. I cannot remember exactly what I was saying, but I did recognize the lack of motivation to move forward. Now, this is where some folks would say, you just need to push through. You just need to do this and just push through. It doesn't matter how you feel. And that would be one approach. Another approach would be to sit there and analyze it and try to figure it out. And why am I not motivated to do this? Why is it that I'm saying one thing, but I find a big part of me not wanting to move forward? And that would be another approach. And then you would just waste time trying to analyze and figure it out, and nothing gets done. But here's where the heart conversations come in, and recognizing them so that we can pay attention and really have a shift down in our heart. So as I sat with that feeling of lack of motivation and discomfort, I paid attention. Where is it that I'm feeling this? I know that might sound strange to some, but just hang with me here. Where am I feeling it? I could feel it right here in my chest area. And that is the area around the heart. And the heart area speaks of connection or disconnect. If I'm feeling some level of disconnection, then that means there's some fear involved that's around that heart. And so I sat there and began to surrender this. I began to feel it and surrender it, just like we teach in the Power of Heart conversations. We are surrendering this into the love and the life of Christ. But in order to do, we can't resist it. We want to allow ourselves to feel it because somehow, some way, that fear to move forward in a particular area of our life is meeting some resistance, some fear. And we don't want that trapped in our body. We don't want that trapped in our heart, our subconscious, because that's what motivates us. We want to release that. So remember, when you feel this, it's a gift and it's something that's good. So I said yes to it. I said yes to allowing myself to feel it. Wasn't really sure at the moment why I was feeling it. Didn't matter. I don't have to try to figure it out. I just release it. And when I began to release it, I began to have a thought that came to me about the motive behind it. The motive is what drives our behavior. And I began to recognize that I was trying to bring completions to multiple areas of my business. And what was my motive? My motive was to validate, to have a way of validating that I'm on the right path, that I am enough. And guys, I didn't even recognize that. I didn't even know that. That didn't come from here. I sensed that wisdom, that understanding from here. In the 7th chapter of the Power of Heart Conversations, we talk about wisdom having a voice. Wisdom speaks and it has a voice, and can we hear? Because the wisdom is always crying out. It's always speaking to us. But until we quiet down those thoughts and really surrender how we're thinking as well as how we're feeling, oh, we give wisdom an opportunity to speak. And I began to recognize that I was seeking approval, and tears began to come into my eyes. And I thought, this is good because here's a shift. Once I began to recognize this, and even with the tears, I knew they were tears of release. And I was so grateful for seeing this because there's no way that I guess I could, but there is no way that I would want to continue to seek external validation for growing as a businesswoman, for growing in the business. And I now remember what it was that I was locked into and what I realized I needed to move forward with. And that was to appreciate where I'm at right now in the formation of the business. If you think of a metaphor with a house, and this is what really set me on this train of thought that led to this whole experience, I was paralleling my development with the business as in building a house. And I thought, okay, I'm clear on the foundation. I know who I am. I know what kind of business this is going to be. I believe I have an understanding of who my ideal client is and so forth. But now we're building this framework. When you go to build the next stage of the home, you put up your beams and your 2x4s and you're running the frames for the different walls. And what I have been trying to do was bring in all the details. I've been trying to fill in the rooms. I've been trying to put up walls without the framework being done first. And that's where the motive was exposed. I was seeking to do that in efforts to validate that I'm on the right path, that I'm on the right track for myself. This heart conversation being exposed was transforming because then as soon as I saw it, I could let go. I could let go because I knew I did not want to continue with that motivation. And I let go, guys. And the next thing that began to happen is my heart is free. My heart is free from that fear of being outside of the present moment, of being away from being able to be thankful and grateful that the foundation has been laid, and now I am building the framework. This brought me to the place where I could wholeheartedly be thankful and grateful for where I am and not feel like I have to be somewhere else to validate myself, to prove myself. And isn't this true of what Higher Way You is all about? The very core statement of us as an individual is, I have nothing to prove and everything to become. So I'm so thankful that heart conversation had an opportunity to become exposed because I was trying to prove myself by having all of these things completed to say, yes, I'm on the right track, this journey of faith. And guys, it started with feeling the resistance in my body. It started with feeling the lack of motivation and not pushing through it, but rather sitting with it. And all of this took probably less than 5 minutes. This is what can happen when we learn to recognize heart conversations that are not working for us so that we can let it go, hear God's wisdom, and allow new seed to be planted in our hearts for transformation and new outcomes. I wanted to show you the water that I'm looking at as I'm filming this video, and you see the stillness of the water. What do you see in the stillness? You can see the reflection of the trees. Of course, you can see the reflection of some of the cars moving along. But the point that I want to bring out here is that in stillness, reflection can be experienced. So as we quiet our heart, we can truly hear our heart conversations, expose the old, let it go, and live from the new. Thank you for watching, everyone. Let's be in action about transforming our heart conversations, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone.